Axe returns! The war may now continue!
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Esports Money, ZSM, Mac10, whatever you want to call me, and welcome to my new and improved updated guide for Axe Jungle in patch 7.06. This is a rather long guide for what I typically do with a hero like Axe, because I tend to take a hero like Axe, because he's so early game oriented, and focus on getting him out of the jungle as soon as possible. With this guide, you can stop through the guide and still do that, but I prefer to jungle a little bit longer. Ideally, we're going to be aiming to jungle between 13 and 14 minutes, and I want to emphasize that that's basically the end of your farming for the game, because you will have paid a relatively large penalty for being in the jungle that long. So you should be going to lanes, you should just be fighting non-stop if you spend this long in the jungle. Again, it is a very, very greedy build, but the goal is to have it 13:30, 13 minutes and 30 seconds, which is where I've ended. I've attempted this around 6 or 7 times with my finalized strategy and build, and it worked very, very well. So we're going to do that, and at 13:30 we're going to have Tranquil Boots, we're going to have a Vanguard, and we're going to have a Blink Dagger. So we should be tanky beyond belief, we'll have a huge number of levels, and we'll just in general be ready to fight constantly. So a lot of heroes became worse at jungling with the new patch, and this is because creeps now spawn every minute, but they only give 80% of the experience and gold that they used to. But that's actually a really good thing for Axe, because that's really like having 160% of what he used to get, because Axe is very, very good at clearing camps very quickly. So my opening build is going to be the Iron Talon, because we do like a little bit of extra right-click damage, but mostly we want the active on it. We're going to get a Stout Shield as soon as possible, so pretty soon. You typically have to kill a camp and get the level 1 rune. We're going to have to buy a salve and have it sent out to us, ideally with the Stout Shield, because we're going to need a heal, and we do not have the Shrine anymore until 5 minutes. Which I'd also like to point out, you do not need to use the Shrine in this guide. We're going to get as many bounty runes as we can on one side of the jungle, but it will leave the bounty rune on the other side of the jungle completely open, and we won't be using any shrines. So we're not taking away that much. And then the other item that we'll, of course, start with is Tangos. So you saw me doing a little bit of Chokepoint Jungling at the start of this guide, and Chokepoint Jungling is kind of a funny thing, because, or with Axe at least, because with most heroes, you use choke points to reduce the amount of damage you take, and that's what you do with Axe. But Axe also has a dice roll every time he's hit on whether or not he'll do counter helix, so more hits actually equates to more damage, so you're actually slightly slower when you Chokepoint Jungle. So you have to do a sort of careful ratio of risk to reward, or damage taken versus damage given, to determine it. If I have 2 centaurs at my first camp, I typically only choke the first, maybe second camp, or the first, until I'm about level 3, then I pretty much throw away Chokepoint Jungling unless I'm in a tough spot. So if you start out at level 1 with a centaur camp, it's 50-50. You can choke it or not, it's pretty efficient either way. If you have mud golems, you're going to want to choke them. If you have the dire wolves, you're definitely going to want to choke them. If you have the centaur camp, the medium centaur camp, don't choke it, just run in and fight them up. And another thing that I like to point out with Axe is that even though he gives you that risk to reward, he rolls that dice every time he gets hit for his counter helix, you still want to focus on targeting down single creeps in order to reduce the amount of damage done to you. So you can see me trying to remove targets as quickly as possible in that ogre camp. You'll see me against the satyr camps focusing down a single satyr until he's dead, because they do 33 damage. There are a few exceptions to this rule in terms of focus on hitting them evenly and use your counter helix to kill the units, and that's because they do so little damage that with your Stout Shield you take so little damage that you don't even notice that you took damage. And this applies to the small mud golems, and the ranged satyrs, and pretty much most of the creeps at the small camp, but I don't really use the small camp. In this video I do not. There have been instances where I have, but out of the 7 or 8 times that I ran my finalized build, I did not actually see a need to use the small camp except for on one occasion. And I could attribute that to bad rolls, but it was probably just me making a mistake. So after I jungle for a little while, my goals for items, once I've burned that initial salve and I have my Stout Shield and I have my Iron Talon, the first thing I'm going to want to do is get my Ring of Health. and then finish my Vanguard. The Ring of Health is the most important item, or up until you get Vanguard, because you suddenly now have a serious amount of regeneration. Once you have the Vanguard, you're going to jungle Ancients, and you're basically going to do a circuit from the Ancients down to the medium camp by the rune, to the hard camp, back to the Ancients, occasionally able to kill all 3 non-Ancient camps and the Ancient in a single minute, but typically you're going to kill the medium camp by the rune that I'm going to now, the hard camp closest to the Ancients, and then you're going to go back to the Ancients and use this circuit. This is, in my experience, and I've tested this, close to double digits of times, the most efficient way to go about this. I actually spent a couple of runs where I played through this whole guide's time and did nothing but bounce back and kill 2 Ancient camps per minute, and it was actually, in only killing the Ancients and not getting the medium and the hard, I actually took more damage, or I actually took a little more damage, but I made significantly less money than if I just focused on these creeps, and I think a lot of that is due to having to walk around the map a lot. You're also a little bit more safe here because of the fact that since we're not using the shrine, if the shrine hasn't been used and someone tries to gank you, you can use the shrine to heal yourself. But that being said, you'll probably have brown boots and a Vanguard if they try to get you when you're attacking the Ancients, and so you might actually be more dangerous to the person trying to kill you than they are to you. So you're pretty freaking hard to gank once you get that going. So I'm going to go ahead and get 2 pieces of my Tranks, but I don't really care about the Ring of Regen yet. I mostly just want all that movement speed, so I won't finish my Tranquil Boots until I get my Blink Dagger. That being said, you can get the Tranks and then time them out so that you are not fighting with them, and so you kind of always have the regen when you're not fighting if you take it in and out of your backpack and give yourself that 6-second window. But if you mistime that, then you lost that regen and you spend a little bit of extra work for nothing. And I actually had to do that consistently to have enough regeneration to do only the Ancients in that one try where once I got Vanguard, I only killed Ancient camps. And it was a lot more work to actually be slightly less efficient. So I don't even bother with it until I get my Blink Dagger. It's basically my final item, and then I might have to move it to my backpack at certain points of the game when I'm roaming, but yeah, you get the idea. As far as skill build goes, you're going to max Counter Helix first because it's awesome. You're going to get 2 points in your Q, and then you're actually going to max Battle Hunger. And the reason you max Battle Hunger is because of the change, I believe it's the Ags upgrade where he just spams it on everyone, and also because Battle Hunger doesn't scale as well as your Q. So it makes sense to have it in the early and mid game, especially with that bonus movement speed, because you're going to be moving pretty fast when your Tranquils are active and you have your Blink Dagger, so you're going to be able to catch people pretty easily. So this is a very simple guide, this is a very efficient guide, but this is also a very greedy guide. So use it how you will, and I guess be judicious on how long you should spend in the jungle. So thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I think that's about it. So have fun! Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Esports Money's ESM Mac10, whatever you want to call me, and thank you for watching that video. If you liked that content, don't forget to hit the like button. If you want to see more content from me, hit the subscribe button. There's actually a little bell icon next to the subscribe button, and if you hit that button, then whenever you have YouTube open and I go online or post a video or really do anything, you'll get a little update from me. If you want to support the channel further, there are Amazon affiliate links in the video description below for pretty much every single piece of hardware in my computer. Additionally, there's also an Amazon referral link for Amazon Prime, so whenever you use that to get an Amazon Prime membership, you support the channel at no additional cost to you. So thank you very much, guys, and have a wonderful day.